What's up, y'all? I'm still out here at the range, as you can see back behind me. Been out here all day doing some really interesting testing. It's been some pretty nice weather, although it's getting a little chilly right now because that wind's blowing. But that ain't gonna stop me from getting one more test done before I head out of here, and it should be another interesting 9mm test. So the jelly contraption's out here tired from a long day's work. We got the chronos and 2 blocks of gel. Now again, I've done a few tests. This far block is pretty full. This front one, I've only done one test, and I kept them way to the other side there, so we got plenty of room. This little old straggler right here, that's one from one of the earlier tests when I had them flipped the other way, so nothing I can really do about that. It might get a little bit messy, but this civil defense stuff by nature is messy anyway. Of course, also, like I always mention, I'm using my heavy clothing barrier that's got the denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt material. And as you can see, what we got here is another offering from Liberty Ammo. It's their Overwatch line, and this time it's in 9mm. Now, if anybody out there is not familiar with this Liberty Ammo stuff for whatever reason, their civil defense or the Overwatch, it's basically a very, very light for caliber round in all the calibers, moving very, very fast. It's a fragmenting round. It's a solid copper round plated fragmenter, so the entire front half of it fragments away, and then the base keeps on trucking. As you can see here on this Overwatch line, it's got that black coating on the case, and then another feature of the Overwatch line are that they're a little bit heavier than the standard civil defense. Now, if y'all watch my channel regularly and you've seen my ammo hunt videos, you've probably seen the one where I actually ordered this in 10 and they sent me the 9 instead in the 10mm box. This is a 10mm box, but it's got 9mm in it, so they replaced that for me. So since they had me just keep this, I figured we might as well do another test with it. So it's the 9mm, it's 72 grains is what this Overwatch is versus 50 grains on the civil defense. So what is that? 22 grains heavier on this Overwatch. The velocity on this is saying 1700 versus 2040 on the 50 grain, and then the foot-pounds of energy would be 473 if we hit that. Now, another claim of this is it goes a little bit further as far as penetration. The civil defense stuff always claims 12 inches, and I cannot remember a time where that stuff did not hit basically exactly 12 inches in any caliber, whereas this Overwatch, it claims 12 to 16 inches, and I'm pretty sure the calibers that I have tested this Overwatch in, it did go further than the civil defense. And then what we're gonna run these things from are a couple barrel lengths. For the shorty, my Canik Mete MC9 with a 3.1 inch barrel, and then I've got my Glock 17 here that's got basically a 4.5 inch barrel. Now, one thing y'all probably know about this Liberty Ammo stuff is it's usually very, very consistent as far as the performance, so not really a whole lot of guessing what we're gonna see right here, but it should be interesting anyway. Let me get this stuff set up and let's see what they do. All right, let's see how fast these speedy boys are going, y'all. I'm gonna do a 5-round average from each barrel length. We'll start with the MC9 first here. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with this radar, like I mentioned every time, you're gonna get multiple velocities from it. Your big number is gonna be your muzzle, and then 5 up underneath. One of them's gonna be set for 3 yards, which is where your gel is, and then you've got 10, 15, 25, and 50. Hopefully we get out to 50. Sometimes when you get lighter projectiles or smaller projectiles, you get a little bit of trouble. Maybe it won't, hopefully it shouldn't. Let's see what we get here for 5 rounds. Remember, the box is saying 1700. So we got 1633. Whew, that is some loud stuff, y'all. 1628. I noticed that every time on this Liberty civil defense stuff. It's very, very loud. 1660. 1644. I mean, it's really, really loud, y'all. And 1608, so not the 1700. I didn't expect it out of this MC9. Let's see what the average was. All right, so our 5-round average from that was 1635 feet per second. So it is some fast stuff without a doubt. An extreme spread of 52 and a standard deviation of 19.1. So not the most consistent velocities there. I've noticed I've seen that a couple times in the past on this stuff, but then for a stretch there, it seemed to be real consistent. So I don't know what's going on with that, but 1635 on this one. Let's swap over to that G17 and see what it does. All right, let's see what this 1.5 inches of barrel adds to it, y'all. We should get over to 17 on this right here with the added barrel length velocity from it. Well, let's check it out. Everything on, we good to go. 1805. I had an error on that one. That's what I was afraid of. It's probably because it's in between those crazy velocities. 1801, there we go. Hopefully we'll get enough of them. 1799. 1777. Let me get one more just so we'll have 5 rounds. All right, last one, y'all. Got 1762, so we definitely hit the 1700 on that. One thing I can also tell you is this isn't near as loud from this G17 as from that MC9. I mean, it's a drastic volume difference on between these two. All right, so that time we met and exceeded that 1700. We had 1789 feet per second, an extreme spread of 44, and a standard deviation of 18.8. So 1789, and if you remember out of that MC9, it was 1635. So you're talking about what, 154 feet per second faster with that extra 1.5 inches of barrel. That sounds about right. Now, all that being said, really all that's doing is adding more energy, because I can just tell you right now, just from seeing these things so many times, these things are both going to perform exactly like they claim to perform. But enough talking about it. Let's get this stuff set up, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Can This Liberty Bring Justice for All jelly time. We'll put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this MC9 first. I pretty much expect, or know what to expect out of this, but let's see what happens anyway. All right, that should have been a perfect shot right there. Let's go see what we got. All right, no surprises there. It did what it does every single time without fail, basically. Well, let's see what this 17 does. Now, it's gonna be messy down there. There's really nothing I can do about this, y'all. These civil defense make a mess that one of them basically takes up the entire block. So there's probably gonna be some crossover with the shrapnel, but it is what it is. Don't really matter which way I flip the block or anything, but let's see what happens here, y'all. All right, it's such a mangled mess down there, I can't tell what I got. Let's go check it out. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. Absolutely no surprises at all. This is just exactly what I expected to see. This is just exactly what you see every single time with this stuff in every single caliber. Like I always say, if nothing else, you have to say that this is some very consistent performance stuff. So it is a little messy down here, but they're both completely separated, separate entrances, separate tracks with a little disc, the cord that keeps on going, so we can tell what happens with both of them. Really, the only difference between the two is the energy level and just a little bit of penetration. So first off, what we got, you'll see they're very close. The one on the top, that was the first one. That was from the MC9, and then the one on the bottom, obviously, that's the G17. Both of them, again, they did the same exact thing. They come in here, immediate fragmentation. I mean, just a huge energy dump from these things right here. Immediate fragmentation, tons of fragments, and then the center keeps on trucking on the top. That was the one from the MC9. You can see it right here. Now, one thing I am glad to see here, a lot of times I've seen when these things fragment, that center piece, it keeps on going, but sometimes it curves wildly. I've seen it go up, down, sideways, so glad to see these stay straight. But again, it kept on trucking and it's sitting right here, I would say about an inch from the end of this 16-inch block. And then again, the other one right up underneath it, same exact story all the way up until here, and basically all the way through the gel. The only difference here is this one actually just barely touched the end of this 16-inch block. So it looks like you got about an extra inch of penetration with the longer barrel. So let's verify what we got here on this penetration. That MC9, exactly 15 inches. The G17, exactly 16 inches. So absolutely terrific penetration from both of those cores that were left. Now, your fragmentation field up here starts right about, this one really don't start until about 3 inches or so. Now, I'm not talking just the disruption. I'm talking just where the fragments are. Looks like anywhere from 3 inches is the shortest one. The longest one out here at 5. So about 3 to 5 inches. And you'll see when I give you an overhead view, you're talking about a diameter of 5 inches. I mean, it basically takes the whole entire block up side to side. So let's get you up close and personal here. You can see there, tons of fragmentation, just a massive energy dump right there. On the top, again, MC9, G17 bottom, but they look exactly the same. As you can see, really nice fragmentation. They did curve down a little bit, but not nearly as wildly as I've seen some of them do in the past. And there you can see your projectiles there. That G17, it just barely touched the end of that first block, and then the other one right there about an inch shorter. And then from above here, you can see what I mean. This fragment down on the bottom is right up against the sidewall, and then this other one here, it's maybe an inch from that other wall, so it takes up a huge amount of space with all that fragmentation. Again, following your tracks, there's the first one from the MC9, and then down below it there is the G17. All right, let's check out what's left of these projectiles here. So MC9 on the right, G17 on the left. There's really no difference in between them. The MC9 maybe has a little bit sharper ridge where the pieces broke off here, but they always usually break off really, really clean, as you can see there. I can feel a little bit of a sharpness or burr on this MC9, you know, take that for what it's worth, but they both did exactly what they're supposed to do, kept on trucking with this little disc, and this is actually what my big hang up about these are. Y'all know I'm always sounding like a broken record when I test these things because I always talk about them doing exactly what they say they're going to do, but I'm just personally not sold on them. And I think the main reason, for whatever reason, is because of this really light disc that keeps on trucking. I just don't know about this stuff through barriers, but that is something I'm going to have to test so I can make up my mind one way or the other on that. But let's see just how much weight we did keep on this one. They both started at 72, so the one from the MC9 here is 41.8 grains, so quite a bit of loss right there. I mean, you lost almost half of the whole entire weight. And then the G17 here is 41.4, so pretty much the same thing there. So not quite half, but you lost close to half of your entire weight with that fragmentation. And then as far as the sizes on them, we'll measure and see what the diameter is. Usually it's a little bit bigger just because of the jagged edges and the burrs. So you got 358 right there, and then 365. And then as far as the thickness on it, you're looking at 209. The one from the MC9 probably gonna be very, very similar. You got 356. 356 again, and then a thickness on this one of 214. So there you have it, y'all. Another test of the Liberty Ammo Overwatch this time. I think I've just about covered all of the major calibers now in either civil defense or Overwatch of some type or another. Let me know down in the comments if y'all can think of one that I haven't done. I'm pretty sure I've covered most of the major calibers. Again, these things perform almost exactly the same each and every single time. No matter what the caliber, the civil defense goes a little bit shorter. It doesn't make it to about 12, but these Overwatch, 15, 16 inches, absolutely terrific penetration. As far as that fragmentation, it does the same thing every time. I don't know that I'm personally sold on that fragmentation doing that much more extra than just adding the weight to an expanding hollow point with like I carry. So once again, for me, it's a case of these did not do bad by any means. They did what they're supposed to do, but I personally am just not sold on this type of round yet. All right, y'all, another interesting 9mm test in the books, and I've been out here since pretty early this morning, so I'm calling it for today right there. This is definitely a type of round that I'm gonna have to do a whole lot more testing before I'm personally gonna be comfortable with carrying something like this. I would wanna see how it does through several different types of barriers. I just have it in my mind that I'm more trusting of a heavy, solid lead round to get through something solid that I might need to get through versus this really, really light type of stuff. Now, I could be totally off base with that thinking, and they might do an absolutely terrific job through barriers, but that's something I'm gonna have to see for myself to get over that. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments. From testing this kind of stuff in the past, it looks like it's about half and half for people who absolutely love it, and half the people can't stand it and want no part of it. Let me know down in the comments if you actually use something like this and what caliber you use it in. If you did enjoy the video, take a second and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got them notifications turned on so you you can hopefully get notified when I upload new videos. Again, another reminder that if you're doing some shopping, check out those affiliate links in the video description. I've got most of the major places where you'd get stuff nowadays from, so check them out. And anything you buy after going through those links, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really appreciate that. Again, a big thank you to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all that supports this channel the way y'all do. I've had a lot of fun out here and got some very interesting stuff done. Tons more planned and on the way, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.